Hello, my name is LaToya Green, Director of Debate at California State University, Fullerton, and for a few moments, I want to talk to you about cross-examination. Some people look at this moment in the debate as a time to unplug and take a load off, or like it's some commercial break where somebody asks a couple questions, answer a couple questions, and then we move on to the more important part, the speeches themselves. But any mature and seasoned debater knows that cross-ex is where the real debate happens, and if you can effectively make it through that particular time period, you're more likely to win the debate. Before I give you a couple tips and tricks on both the asking and answering side of cross-ex, let's take a step back and talk about 4 reasons why cross-examination is so important in the first place. First of all, cross-ex is free speech time. That's right, outside of the 8 or 9 minutes you're given, those other 3 minutes are used as an opportunity to tease out the very nuances and intricacies of your strategy and to talk to the judge about why you think you should win. You can make impressions, you can threaten the other team's arguments, or you can even show not only the knowledge and control of your arguments, but of the other teams and how your arguments interact together. Secondly, cross-examination is free prep time. Oftentimes, while you're speaking or asking or answering questions, your partner is probably preparing things, pulling up files, writing blocks, getting their thoughts together. So don't give up on that cross-ex time early. All 3 minutes matter. Not 2 minutes, not 2.5. Hang in there for all 3. Thirdly, cross-ex is important because it allows for you to make points of clarification. You're not able to figure out everything during a debate. Sometimes things can move rather quickly. So if you need a better idea of a definition, a clear understanding of the permutation, a better understanding of an interpretation on framework or topicality, that's the time to get it. Cross-ex is a great chance for you to stay up to speed for the direction of the debate. Lastly, it's what I call direct flex, right? A unique opportunity for debaters to go head to head in terms of being persuasive and persuading the judges that they're actually ahead and understand what's going on and that they have good responses and answers to the questions of their opponents. So during direct flex, you're able to see the confidence that every debater should have, not only in the speech itself, but when being asked about their position and their ability to defend it. Ultimately, once you have a good understanding about why cross-ex is important, you're able to get in there and start to answer and ask questions themselves. So let's start with asking. A couple tips. First of all, have 3 to 5 questions prepared before the cross-examination period begins. You've been sitting there for 8 to 9 minutes. There's no good reason why you should get up and flip the page 5 or 6 times trying to figure out what to ask. Instead, pull out a separate sheet of paper and start writing down the things that you're curious about, the things that don't make sense, the things that don't jive very well with your strategy. That way you're prepared to have a diversity of questions when that clock starts. Secondly, ask short, concise questions designed to get short, concise answers. Don't go all the way around the world trying to craft in 1,000 different words what you want to ask, because that gives room for your opponents to take the same strategy and approach to answering you. Even if you have to preface a question a little bit, keep it limited so that the directness and the intention of your question is there, it's felt by the judge, it's understood by your opponents, and you can get the information that you need. Additionally, make sure you ask your questions with a purpose. Don't just get up and cross-ex and free fall for the entire 3 minutes. Have a diversity of questions, have a couple of different areas of offense or places where you want to probe the other team on what they've said and handle it accordingly. Don't get lost in the sauce. Make sure you stay focused. Additionally, don't let cross-ex in and of itself get away from you. I watch a lot of debaters that ask one question and 17 different follow-ups to that question. Instead, have 2 to 3 follow-ups and a diversity of questions. That way you can come at your opponents at a bunch of different angles. Also, move on when you're ready to move on. Don't let somebody hijack your cross-ex and talk over you. When you have the answer that you need and somebody keeps talking, make eye contact with the judge and say, I have another question. I have another question. Thank you, that's enough. You've answered my question. I have another question. Even if they don't stop, what you've done is created some noise that cuts against their attempt to get free speech time off of you, and you've communicated to the judge that you're trying to move on. Most importantly, in asking questions, right? You want to ask somebody a question, you're probably getting solid information. You want to make a judge proud? Integrate some of that information or some of those concessions or admissions into your next speech. Make sure you take advantage of that time. It's not a free show. Evolve with the debate and do so by pulling those answers and dragging them through to some rebuttals. Okay, now you've asked questions, let's figure out the other side of the equation. Maybe you have to answer. First and foremost, attempt to give clean, concise answers as much as possible. Be robust. Talk as long as they'll let you talk. Make sure you answer the question itself, but don't sound like you're just free-falling up there saying anything that comes to mind. Listen to the question, respond to it, wait for the next one. Additionally, most effectively, People who are asking questions tend to refer to things that they've already said. And if possible, they refer to a piece of evidence that further solidifies the strength in the argument that they're making. So as often as you can, remind people that at the top of the speech, or on your analysis on the overview, or somewhere when you were talking about the alternative, you already explained that something functioned. That makes you sound ahead of the game the entire time, and it convinces your judge and very muchly persuasively tells your judge that you're on the ball inside of this particular debate. Do not allow your arguments to be mischaracterized. The worst thing you can do is have somebody ask you, okay, so will you fund X, Y, and Z program which will allow for money to go into schools? You answer the question, and then what they take away from that is that you hate children, or that you hate funding public programming. You've never said that. You probably gave a much more nuanced response about why funding X program in regard to a Y group of people is probably a bad thing. So don't allow them to straw man your argument, or to very swiftly paint and with very large strokes paint your argument as something that it's not. The most mature debaters are listening to the characterizations of their arguments, and they're fixing them right there on the spot in the cross-examination. A lot of debaters forget that your opponents are never going to agree with you, so don't make eye contact with them. Look at me. I'm your judge, and I'm probably giving you a bunch of nonverbals, where there be scrunched up eyebrows or maybe big eyes. I might laugh a little bit. I might look around. All of these are important nonverbal cues that you miss when you talk directly to your opponents. Focus on me. It's my ballot that you want. They'll never change their mind, okay? Last but not least, be prepared. The best thing you can do in a cross-ex if you have to answer questions is to know the literature, know your argument, know the information, and know the strategy. That's the best way I can give you to make it out alive. These people are looking to take you out of the game. Sound confident, be ready, know your information, and you'll make it out. The biggest rule that I have for both sides of the debate, whether you're asking or answering questions, is to be polite. You all. You can be stealthy. You can be strategic. You can be downright about that life. But there's no reason to be mean. There's no reason to be cruel. And oftentimes you all get so lost in it, and from the outside looking in, it's kind of embarrassing. So in so many words, take a chill pill. Relax. Take a step back. Know your arguments, know your strategy. You don't have to get all huffy and puffy. You can win right then and there, 3 minutes or less. Don't forget, debates are won and lost. In the cross-ex, you can make it. You can handle it. You can even win. Don't forget it. Stay on top of these tips, and I guarantee you do well. My name is LaToya Green, Director of Debate at California State University, Fullerton, and I'm wishing you a successful season.